Now at 7, most of the West Coast is under a tsunami advisory after an 8.8 earthquake hit off the coast of Russia, the 6th largest on record. Thank you for joining us. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Right here, we're taking a look at where and when exactly that earthquake hit. It was late afternoon our time, right around 4:30, right off the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia. Tsunami advisories remain in place for Hawaii and most of the west coast of the U.S., except for that portion in red. You see there, that small portion in red on your screen between the Oregon-California border. That area remains in a tsunami warning. With that, we take this live look at the Oregon coast. Closer to us this morning, this is a view from our Chinook Winds Casino Skycam in Lincoln City.
Now, we do have team coverage this morning. Thomas Schultz is live in Seaside Beach, but first let's head over to Rod Hill and the weather.
Yeah, so far the news is good. I like my choice of words, comforting, because there have been zero signs of anything really bad happening that would be destructive or cause the need to evacuate. Nonetheless, we have the tsunami advisory. It's blanketing all of Oregon and Washington, the two coastlines. So far, no water heights have been reported as even a foot above normal. It's either been just a few inches or it's been nothing. And at most, the advisories came out overnight called for the majority of the Oregon coast never to see water heights get even up to a foot above normal. And at most, Seaside would be about 1.5 feet above normal or under 2 feet. And again, so far, we have not even seen heights approaching those numbers. So this is good news. Nonetheless, there is concern for dangerous currents. The strongest currents this morning by monitoring stations being reported as south of Lincoln City down into California. You're being asked to avoid the beaches, stay out of the water, avoid marinas, that type of thing, as long as this advisory is in play. Here's that one little sliver, Crescent City, extreme northern California coastline under a warning. Now, this area has seen wave heights or water heights get up to just shy of 4 feet above normal. The only other significant rise in water level at all, you have to go out to Hawaii, where there have been numerous reports of 3-4 feet water levels above normal, including some reports on Maui nearing 6 feet above normal. Now, the Hawaiian Islands, like us, under an advisory, not a warning at this point. So again, with the advisory, the middle bar here, stay out of the ocean, off the beaches, no evacuations expected. Again, stay clear of the beaches, stay clear of the water for today. The forecast for you folks at the beach, what I just said, the tsunami advisory, increased wave heights of nothing to less than 2 feet, light winds, 67 Pacific City. I will tell you the typical marine forecast for the North Oregon coast today is seas 2 to 3 feet. So that's what we should be seeing, and hopefully that's all we see. That's your update right now.
All right, from Rod Hill in the Weather Center, we're going to throw it back over to Thomas Schultz, who's live in Seaside this morning.
So, Thomas, what is it looking like out there?
Well, guys, a lot of people are heeding that advice that Rod and many officials have been telling us all throughout the morning and going back to last night. Though there are still people we're seeing out on the beaches and by the water. Right now, we're about 10 to 12 feet above sea level here in Seaside. But this is a place that Seaside officials say could be susceptible to possible challenges in a tsunami advisory. That's because Seaside is at a lower elevation. It has a higher population than many towns out here along the coast. It also has a big tourism industry. So there's a lot of people, just like Cannon Beach, who are here as visitors at Seaside. Right now, as Rod mentioned, Seaside officials are cautious. They're keeping a close eye on this, but they're not overly concerned at this point in time. Of course, that could change throughout the day as they continue to monitor this. Waves, they say, could be a bit higher than normal, but so far we haven't seen much of that. Rod has mentioned all throughout the morning as well that currents could be a challenge out here. Another reason to stay out of the water and off of the beaches. Fortunately, Seaside officials tell us that they do expect low tide today, which could help.
Because of the low tide, I'm not sure if it will even be noticed, but we're advising people to stay off the beaches. This could affect currents and things like that in the ocean, in our estuary and things like that. So if people just stay back from that, I think everyone should be just fine.
And over the past several hours, we've been speaking with officials and people from Lincoln City all the way up to Astoria, many telling us they're watching and monitoring closely whether they are city officials and need to respond. If so, they're ready and willing to do that. Or if they're residents or visitors monitoring closely, watching these advisories. And for many, staying off the beaches and out of the water. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us this morning there in Cannon Beach. Here's a quick look at a map that shows all the areas impacted by the earthquake from Alaska to Hawaii and the entire west coast of the U.S. in between.
As we know, the 8.8 magnitude quake hit off Russia's east coast around 4:30 yesterday afternoon our time. CNN meteorologist Allison Shinkar has more on the story.
Now here is the look at where the earthquake took place. This is the 8.8. It was 13 miles deep. That may seem like very deep, but it's not. It's actually very shallow in terms of geological things. So when we take a look at this, the tsunami waves are going to continue to propagate outward. Okay, so they're going to continue to stretch out. The unfortunate part is when they propagate out in this direction, that really kind of puts Hawaii in particular kind of right there in the main line of the target. Now we've talked about Japan, for example. They're kind of off to the side. Same thing with some of these Aleutian islands, so they may not necessarily get some of the largest of the tsunami waves. It may actually end up being some other entities, and this is why you have all of these places under some type of tsunami alert. The orange color here for the western Aleutian Islands as well as Hawaii, those are under the tsunami warning. The yellow color here for the remainder of the Aleutian Islands as well as the entire western coast of the U.S. and portions of Canada as well. That is under a tsunami advisory. It's a little bit farther out. The good news is they will get a little bit more leeway in terms of timing and a heads up. So here's what we're talking about. Here's a look at that. So here's where the epicenter was. This is the propagating lines. This kind of tells us how long it's going to take before the tsunami waves would arrive in certain places. So you can see some of them have already started to arrive in portions of Japan and even into the Aleutian Islands, at least the very, very far western ones, but they're off to the side. It's really going to be the center portion of this that we are most concerned about in terms of some of those highest waves.
All right, we're also keeping an eye on Hawaii this morning. This shot courtesy of EarthCam. After yesterday's earthquake near Russia, people in Hawaii were told to evacuate and brace for the possibility of a severe tsunami impact. But about 5 hours ago at this point, officials downgraded that warning to a tsunami advisory, so people in Hawaii can go back to their homes. And this is what it looked like late last night. You can see some of the water there rising up into the parking lots near the ocean. Thankfully, no major damage has been reported in Hawaii to this point.
And here's a look at some of the damage in Russia after a series of powerful aftershock quakes. We're going to show you this video here in a second. A 6.9 magnitude quake hit 91 miles southeast of the original epicenter about 45 minutes after the initial quake. And then minutes later, a 6.3 magnitude quake hit. 9 more quakes ranging from 5.4 to 5.8 have also hit the same area in the hours following.
All right, take a look at this now. This is video of doctors in Russia in the middle of surgery right as that earthquake hit yesterday. You can imagine, I've always thought about what certain people would be doing at certain times when something this big hits. Again, this is a look at a surgery room in Russia right in the middle of that 8.8 earthquake hitting yesterday afternoon, 4:30 our time. Some incredible video there from Russia, Rod Hills. We bring it back over to you in our weather center, tsunami advisories, warnings, watches, all of that on our radar here this morning.
Okay, just got the maps loaded that I wanted to get loaded. I was checking out some of the wave model heights. None of them, and honestly, I'm unclear if I would expect the modeling to already have tsunami information into it that would show up with the wave models, but at any rate, what I looked at does not show anything alarming. And the latest reports we've had this morning show any wave height or water height increase due to tsunami has been either 0 along the Oregon coast or in a matter of inches. So the news is good. Let's see if we can hold this one out with nothing alarming happening here locally. Again, that's the Russian peninsula where that quake popped, and there's Alaska and there's the Aleutian Islands. The magnitude actually being reported at 8.8, our auto plot showing 8.7. And again, this was in the 4 o'clock hour, our local time yesterday afternoon. So we have no idea at this point how long the tsunami advisory is going to be in play. Could be literally canceled at any moment, or it could continue all day into tomorrow. We simply don't know. All of Oregon's coastline and Washington's coastline under this tsunami advisory. And at this point, the biggest threat does seem to be dangerous currents in the water itself. And the strongest currents this morning And I don't know if this is normal or not, but the strongest currents this morning are showing up south of Lincoln City down toward the California border. Again, stay away from the beaches, stay away from the water today. All right, our other story is developing thunderstorms. We're seeing showers increase mainly north of Bend at this hour. Futurecast shows here we are in the 6 o'clock hour getting into this evening. Thunderstorms blowing up in central Oregon. Some of the modeling does show some rain coming in, not storms, but rain coming into Portland at some point tomorrow morning. So we're still keeping an eye on all of that. Beautiful view over the top of the Pioneer Courthouse from the Pioneer Park building this morning. Mostly sunny skies out there to start your day. 63 is the current number out at the airport. Everybody's pretty similar. Wilsonville, good morning, 62. We have light winds, not really seeing the downtown flags move at all. 57 out in Dallas. Salem, good morning, 63. The thunderstorms later today and evening, central and eastern areas, all dry here on the west side. Nearing 100 in the Dalles. Now to Pendleton, there's actually a heat advisory in play for you folks. This shows Portland 86 at 5 o'clock. I think we could get to 90 for a high. I'm not sure if we will. Yesterday was 91. And then tomorrow with cloudiness and a shower threat, the big cool off, 80. 79 Friday, clouds of sun, a nice weekend with 80 Saturday and 77 on Sunday. That is your update.
Thank you, Rod.
We test extreme conditions, tsunamis and storm surge and big hurricane waves.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what scientists at Oregon State University are doing to make sure that the West Coast is ready in the event of a major tsunami. Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues right after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Well, we haven't seen any major tsunami impacts this morning. If Oregon ever gets hit with the huge earthquake known as the Big One, a much bigger tsunami would be expected for our coast.
Scientists at Oregon State University are working at one of the most advanced wave testing facilities in the country to prepare for that big event. Here's Cale Williams with a look at their work.
This is footage earlier on when the earthquake has hit.
It's not a matter of if.
You don't know when this is going to happen,
but when?
It's just to get to high ground as soon as you can.
Since January of 1700, tension has been building in the Cascadia subduction zone. That's where tectonic plates under the ocean are slowly sliding under the plate beneath the North American continent. And at some point, it's going to pop.
Then one day it releases all that tension, all that stress is just released. The second plate lifts up, pushes the water out of the way, and that's what creates the tsunami.
That's Dan Cox, professor of coastal and ocean engineering at Oregon State. And he said you don't have to go back to 1700 to see what a tsunami would look like on our coast.
I was actually in Japan after the 2011 tsunami, and I walked through town after town.
On March 11th, The magnitude 9 Tohoku earthquake shook the ground for nearly 6 minutes. Within half an hour, a wall of water washed ashore. Seawalls were easily overcome. Entire villages in the mostly rural areas were washed away. Combined, the earthquake and tsunami killed more than 18,000 people.
And the damage there is probably going to be very similar to what we saw here for that magnitude 9.
If the entire Cascadia subduction zone were to rupture, the ground on the coast is expected to sink by up to 6 feet. The following tsunami could see waves up to 40 feet high, and they could last for hours after the shaking stops. Many low-lying towns would be inundated.
Parts of the coast I worry about is where the people are.
That includes places like Seaside, Neskowin, and Warrenton. The state estimates a tsunami could wipe out areas that are home to some 22,000 people.
Wood frame buildings, residential structures, houses, they really don't fare well. And so the expectation is most of them are going to get washed away.
And estimated deaths from a Cascadia quake range as high as 10,000, with half of those caused by the tsunami.
That would be extremely devastating.
But there are people working on ways to lessen that death toll.
We test extreme conditions, tsunamis and storm surge and big hurricane waves.
Pedro Lomonaco is the director of the O.H. Hinsdale Wave Research Laboratory at Oregon State.
We are really passionate on waves and how that works and what we call coastal engineering. No?
It's one of the largest and most advanced wave testing facilities in the country, home to a large wave basin and a long flume with a wave generator at the end. When we visited, a team of researchers from Louisiana State and the University of Hawaii were running an experiment on how different types of debris behave in a tsunami.
What kills you in a tsunami is the debris, not the wave itself.
Each of those yellow blocks represents a 40-foot shipping container. And the metal rods, affixed with sensors to record the strength of impact, represent a building along the coast. Once the containers are set up...
Okay, are you guys ready for me to run this wave?
Yes, we are.
The wave generator pushes a wall of water down the flume. And the containers, well, they crash right into the building. It may not look impressive, but when you imagine each of those blocks as a 40-foot container, it's easy to see the destruction tsunamis can cause. And the data collected here has real-world impacts.
These have the potential to change building codes on coasts and that type of thing?
It already has done it.
Lomonaco said results from similar experiments conducted last year have already helped change building codes around the country.
To me, it's one of the fastest answers that we have seen. Normally, fundamental research takes years to trickle all the way to the building code. This case was really fast.
Now, if you live on the coast, what happens in a lab on a college campus might not be all that reassuring. For those folks, Dan Cox offered some advice. Start making a plan now.
It takes about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on where we are, till that first wave hits the coast.
That means mapping out an escape route, as well as a plan to reunite with loved ones after a tsunami hits. And while there still is a lot of work to do, Cox said the Pacific Northwest is in a much better place than it was even a decade ago.
When I was first here, there was not even awareness of it. Then it was well, we're aware, but we don't want to do certain things. And now it's all options on the table. Let's try to figure it out. So it's been took a little while, but I think people are really taking it to heart and trying to figure it out.
Cale Williams, KGW News.
So let's get back to the local tsunami advisory for this morning, Rod.
And I wish I could tell you if I had any feeling or inkling in terms of how long this advisory is going to be in play, and I don't. I've been looking at all the model information that we have. There's no signs of any kind of bullseyes of heightened, ocean activity anywhere close to us. We know there hasn't been any significant measuring of any increased waves or water heights at this point. We know worst case scenario is projected to be less than a 2 feet rise in water in Seaside. So far that has not happened. So all we really know is that we're under this advisory until we're not, and it's blanketing all of the Oregon and Washington coast. And for the time being, the most important narrative is that it's very possible that the currents in the water will be the biggest hazard in terms of stronger than normal currents in the Okay, I just paused because I saw that go away, and I'm watching it again. I don't know, that was a blink for whatever reason. I don't know when it's going to go away and when it's not. But the biggest hazard could be just the currents in the water, which shouldn't be a problem because you are advised to stay clear of the beaches, stay clear of the water, stay clear of walking around on docks and marinas and that type of thing until this advisory is lifted, right? So the increased wave heights, anything we expect to be nothing recorded today to no more than 2 feet, as I mentioned. Otherwise, winds at the beach are light. It's cloudy this morning. We're expecting partly cloudy skies to develop during the day, and temperatures will be in the 60s. This is buoy reports, and please understand, the buoys are almost always picking up something, right? The marine forecast today, if there were no tsunami, no nothing else, the typical marine forecast is calling for 2 to 3 feet waves, which is basically what this is showing. So this is not showing anything alarming. It is interesting that the highest wave heights are coming in down in the extreme northern coast of California, because remember that Crescent City area is under a tsunami warning, and they have in fact measured a rise in seawater up to just shy of 4 feet down there. All right, other news is the thunderstorm threat again today, firing mainly east of the Cascades. Now you got no thunder and lightning, but just rain showers that have been increasing in number in the past couple of hours from Bend up through Madras. There's Mount Jefferson picking up a little bit of shower activity even on the west slopes of the Cascades. Well to our south. Futurecast is 6 o'clock. Thunderstorms blow up in central Oregon. Does any of this action make it into the valley? The modeling shows not really, except for some dying light rain showers at some point tomorrow morning. Now, it's at least possible that somewhere between Eugene and Seattle, there's literally a spotty thunderstorm pop tonight or tomorrow. Still possible. What the models show is that we get some light rain coming into Portland in the 10 or 11 o'clock hour tomorrow morning. So we'll see how all of that plays out. Right now we're all dry. It's going to stay that way today. Sunshine, the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha, 63. Nice morning. There's our state capital, and temperature down in Marion County, 63 in Salem, same as Portland. 64 out in John Day. Gorge forecast does include from White Salmon through the Dalles, and then it extends out into Pendleton. A heat advisory today for temperatures near 100. Now this shows the Dalles at 99. The forecast projections have actually backed off the heat somewhat, but nonetheless, it's going to be a toasty afternoon for you. Back to the valley, we'll get up to about 90 today, maybe. We were low 90s yesterday. I'm not sure if we make it to 90 today or not, but we might. Partly to mostly sunny. Cloudiness and a shower threat tomorrow, only 80, and then comfortable weather with morning clouds, afternoon sun, 79 Friday, 80 Saturday, and cloudiness increasing Sunday, leading into a shower threat on Monday. Really nice stretch of weather once we get through today's hot afternoon, and that is your update.
All right, thank you, Rod. Evacuation orders have been lifted in McMinnville after a car crash ignited a propane tank outside a Wilco farm store yesterday. Shut down part of Highway 99W. We're going to have more on this story, plus other local headlines when Sunrise, streaming live at 7 o'clock, continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Evacuation notices have been lifted near a Wilco farm store near Highway 99W in McMinnville after a multi-vehicle crash ignited a propane tank yesterday afternoon.
So police say it impacted rush hour traffic starting right around 4 o'clock on 99W, Lafayette Avenue, Grand Haven Drive, and that surrounding area. You can see some of the dramatic video here in the pictures. McMinnville Water and Light also shut off power to customers behind that Wilco store, and they asked people to avoid the area. Meanwhile, crews worked overnight to do a controlled release of the propane. So we do expect to get more information about this from police later today. Police are also investigating a bias crime at a Northeast Portland business with Jewish ties. Officers say on June 14th, in the middle of the night, this man right here on your screen approached the entrance of that business on Northeast Broadway. He muttered profanities and he drew a swastika on the door frame. Police released these surveillance photos and are asking for tips that might help them track the man down.
A Forest Grove man says his neighbor helped save his life during an apartment fire. Listen to this. This happened on A Street last Friday night, and Victor Campuzano was asleep when the fire started, and he was woken up by his smoke alarm. Now, when he realized that he wasn't able to get out from the front or back of his apartment, he heard his neighbor calling for him.
He walked over to the shed where there's a ladder standing up, and he ran over and grabbed it, put it over the trucks, and tried to push it as high as he could, but it's
Campuzano was able to jump out just in time. One of the neighbors, however, did not survive. Their name hasn't been released. Investigators haven't determined the cause of the fire.
Coming up here in our next half hour of Sunrise, Thomas Schultz joins us live from Seaside with the latest on this morning's tsunami advisory along the Oregon coast. Stay with us. The Sunrise Show continues after this.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. Our number one news story this morning, the tsunami advisory that continues to be in effect. We don't know when it's going to expire. All we know is that it's in effect. This blankets all of the Washington and Oregon coastline. The latest information we're getting, about an hour old now, coming out at 6:30, still showing basically no noticeable rise other than inches at most of water along the Oregon coast. You get down into Crescent City in Northern California, and they are reporting up to about 4 feet of ocean rise. And that small area of the extreme northern California coast, right there in Crescent City in red, is in fact looking at a tsunami warning, and they have had some noticeable water increases. 7-day forecast for Portland. We are looking at temperatures back up to about 90 degrees today. We have a thunderstorm threat in central and eastern areas. Tomorrow there could be some rain in Portland as we get up to 80 degrees.
We start this half hour of Sunrise with a live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort Skycam right there in Lincoln City.
We're tracking a tsunami advisory for most of the West Coast, including all of Oregon and Washington, after an 8.8 earthquake hit off the coast of Russia around 4:30 our time yesterday afternoon. Thomas Schultz is live in Seaside Beach this morning talking warnings to stay off the beach. But first, we're going to bring in Rod Hill. Rod.
Thank you for that very much. And bear with me. We're kind of doing a combo of television and then streaming here on KGW Plus. And the only way I can get to what I need to get to is to back up through these maps. And for that, I apologize, but I'm almost where I need to be. Or the graphic is going to freeze on me. Hopefully it doesn't freeze on me. The graphics may just, oh, okay, here it is. We have the advisory that is posted right here. I apologize for that delay. Advisory posted for the entire Oregon and Washington coast. Still up, tsunami advisory. Now, the comforting news is, so far there has been no noticeable increase in water or wave heights. We're talking inches at most detected. And the worst case scenario that was put out in the bulletins overnight, and still the case this morning, is that maybe Seaside could get some increased wave heights up to just shy of 2 feet. We know it's a low tide day as well, and even the city manager of Seaside, who we're probably going to hear from again in this hour, has said that with the low tide situation, we may not notice any increase in wave heights. But you are asked, nonetheless, to stay clear of the Oregon beaches and Washington beaches and the water itself. So the tsunami advisory, stay out of the ocean, stay off the beaches, no evacuations expected at this point. But currents are expected to be stronger than normal potentially. The strongest currents we're seeing right now actually set up south of Lincoln City, real-time reports. Here's the coast forecast. That tsunami advisory, increased wave heights, nothing to less than 2 feet, light winds, becoming partly cloudy. The standard marine forecast today, I should mention, is 2 to 3 feet, which is basically what the buoys are showing right now. That's just a normal day. We'll continue to update the story, but that's the latest from the Weather Office.
All right, thank you for that, Rod. We want to head back over to Thomas Schultz along the Oregon coast. He started the morning in Cannon Beach, and he's now in Seaside.
So, Thomas, what is it looking like out there right now?
Well, guys, it looks pretty similar to what we saw in Cannon Beach. Pretty much calm out there on the water, but there are a few people walking along the beach, walking in the water, something that officials tell us, and as Rod just told us, do not do today. Just stay off the beaches completely. We're over here about 12 feet above those beaches just to ensure safety. Now, this is, of course, something that officials have been monitoring all throughout the night. Again, asking people to stay off the beaches and off the water as waves could be higher than normal. Another thing that Rod also mentioned, I want to reiterate here, those currents could be strong. Now, officials say that even if the waves appear like they're not much bigger, they could get larger. Of course, those currents could also be a problem if you do get in the water. Fortunately for Seaside today, they are expecting a low tide, which could help. Still, this is a town that is susceptible as the tsunami advisory continues.
I think for tsunamis, Seaside is the most vulnerable along the Oregon coast. We are the lowest in elevation. We have a high population and density of people close to the beach.
And it's not just Seaside that's taking this seriously. Towns up and down the Oregon coast, of course, into Washington as well, are closely watching this tsunami advisory. We spoke to officials, emergency management officials in Astoria. They think they're going to be a little bit more protected because they're inland. Still, they say there's a lot of fishing vessels out on the water. Of course, that's something that they are a little bit worried about, as you would imagine. They say it's up to the Coast Guard to make sure those fishermen are well informed.
It is being monitored. Our dispatch center is aware of it. Our county's EOC has partially been activated, and they're keeping an eye on things. And the communication channels have been open.
And once again, officials all up and down the coast of the Pacific Northwest are watching this closely as it continues to develop. They're also telling people, again, we can't reiterate this enough, stay off the beaches, stay out of the water, but also have a plan in place in case things escalate today. Drew, China.
Thomas Schultz reporting live for us. Thank you, Thomas. Meantime, last night we spoke with Patience Winningham, the Deputy Director of the Oregon Department of Emergency Management. That's the state agency that coordinates a large-scale emergency response in Oregon. So we asked her what's happening behind the scenes as state and local officials prepare for potential tsunami waves.
Currently, we're receiving those briefings, as I said before, and we pivot and take that information to share with our state partners, both with law enforcement, fire, and our local county emergency managers. We have situation dashboards that we can share that information with pretty quickly to ensure a clear understanding of what the impacts are.
Again, some reaction there from the Oregon Department of Emergency Management. Meanwhile, we have had a lot of talk since yesterday afternoon about tsunami watches, tsunami advisories, and tsunami warnings. The question is, what are the differences between those three? Well, for starters, there's actually 4 categories to be aware of. The first one is called an information statement, which basically means there's no threat at all. A tsunami watch means get prepared, stay tuned for more information, and be ready to act if needed. An advisory means stay out of the water and stay away from beaches. It's also what most of the West Coast is under this morning, including the Oregon and Washington coasts. And then finally, a tsunami warning means move to higher ground or move inland right away.
We also want to go back to 2011 when a 9.1 magnitude earthquake hit Japan, killing 20,000 people.
Yeah, we have some footage from 2011 we can show you here. This is from Japan's northeast coast after the tsunami hit. It destroyed more than 120,000 buildings and damaged 1 million more. It also caused a nuclear meltdown at the Fukushima power plant, which is still in the process of being decommissioned.
Now, that tsunami also impacted the southern Oregon coast, destroying some docks and boats in the port of Brookings.
Once that debris got moving around in here, it just, got heavier and kept breaking things.
It sunk boats, so it was pretty impressive. It's a lot of damage.
The impact of the tsunami that hit the port of Brookings in 2011 led to millions of dollars in damages. In your other local headlines this morning, opening statements got underway yesterday in a trial for a car crash that killed an 11-year-old in southeast Portland more than 2 years ago. The defendant, Dupree Smith, is accused of running a red light at more than 80 miles per hour, causing the deadly crash. He says that he was rushing because he had been shot while attending a funeral and was trying to get to the hospital. Smith is also accused of driving under the influence. He pleaded not guilty to the charges. Ryan Ambrose, the 11-year-old who was killed in the crash, was in Portland visiting family.
Work is underway on a new affordable housing development in southeast Portland. The plan here is to build 64 new units in the Foster Powell neighborhood. The development will include 22 permanent supportive housing units for people who have been homeless. Supporters say this area is in desperate need of affordable housing, with rent prices continuing to go up and many people being forced to move away. To qualify for these new housing units or homes, people have to earn at or below 60% of the median income for that area. According to the Portland Housing Bureau, that's about $75,000 a year for a family of 4.
When our democracy and in our entire structure of government is feeling at stake, it is more important than ever that we dig in and we build community and we refuse to turn our backs on our neighbors who are most marginalized.
Our goal is to not just move folks in and get folks housed, but to keep them stably housed.
Local and state agencies are helping to they're helping to pay for this project, which is expected to be finished in about a year.
Meantime, Portland City Councilor Candace Avalos, who represents District 1, has a new plan to tackle homelessness. So she believes that there are too many different plans addressing homelessness created by different people with different agreements, different government partners, and she says it's all getting confusing. Her proposed strategy would take the best of all the city's plans and create a single roadmap with a focus on improving housing stability for people of color and single mothers. The plan also aims to improve the city's permitting progress and program to make it easier and faster to build new housing. That's also good for the environment. And those are just some of the key parts of Councilor Avalos' housing strategy. She also talked with KGW Blair Best on the story. You can watch their full conversation anytime on KGW+. Plans for a new Portland area In-N-Out are starting to take shape. According to the Portland Business Journal, the burger chain filed building and demolition permits for a planned location off Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. The restaurant chain has been trying to secure this spot near the Chick-fil-A for years now, but traffic concerns slowed down that permit process. The permits have not been issued yet, so it's still not a done deal. But this location is in addition to other planned across the Portland metro area, including one in Hillsborough, another near PDX, and in Ridgefield.
All right, back to our top headline this morning. A tsunami advisory in effect for most of the West Coast, including all of Oregon and Washington. This is a live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort Skycam in Lincoln City. Rod, this is a live look again at Lincoln City. Thomas Schultz has been live this morning in Cannon Beach and also in Seaside. I guess the bottom line so far, all quiet and calm on our front, which is good news during an advisory.
And Drew, on the heels of that statement, I think it's important to remind people that certainly I don't have expertise in this arena, tsunami and the waves generated from them. And I think it's important to note, is the worst over? We don't know. Nothing yet, but could there be a surge of higher water at some point? All we really know is that we still are in the tsunami advisory area, all of the Oregon and Washington coast, and there's no word coming to us when this will be allowed to expire. It could continue all day. Maybe it gets canceled in 5 minutes. Is the worst over? Maybe, but we don't know. So please continue, as long as you see on your phones and your feeds and here at KGW TV that we are under this tsunami advisory, please, please, please don't go to the beaches, stay out of the water, don't go walking around marinas, just stay clear because we simply don't know if there's a hazard lurking yet or not. There is the tsunami warning area. This is the only spot under an actual warning of the west coast of the U.S. Crescent City, this is extreme Northern California. They have reported an increase in water or wave heights up to about 4 feet. Again, any report of increased water or wave heights here locally in Oregon has been a matter of inches, if that. So fingers crossed we get out of this. The buoy reports are 2 to 3 feet. Now understand, this is normal. So that's not showing any signs of any increased water action from a tsunami. And in fact, the marine forecast today is right on par with this, calling for 2 to 3 feet waves. Normal. All right, the other part of our forecast is, again, we expect thunderstorms to fire later today in areas east of the Cascades. We're seeing quite a bit of rain even at this early morning hour near Bend, Madras, over toward Mount Jefferson, but so far that's just rain. We're keeping an eye on that. We will be dry all day, kind of partly to mostly sunny here in Portland. Another hot afternoon coming. Right now, 63. We did make it to 91 yesterday. I'm not sure if we make it to 90 today or not, but we'll be close if we don't. This shows 89 in Salem at 5 o'clock and 86 in Portland. I think we could hit 90. Nearing 100 for actual highs from the Dalles out into Pendleton. There's actually heat advisory in this area, and then otherwise central and eastern areas under the gun for more thunderstorm development. Weather models show some light rain showers coming into the valley at some point tomorrow in the morning hours. We'll see if we get that with a mix of cloudiness on Thursday. So today's the final hot day, 90. Tomorrow only 80, and then really nice, 79 Friday, 80 Saturday, 77 on Sunday. And that is your update.
Thank you, Rod. Still come on Sunrise, people in Hawaii cheering after not getting hit with high waves. Madison Wade gives us a look at the impact in Hawaii. Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues in just 2 minutes.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
All right, wildfire updates for you here this morning. The latest on the Burgoyne fire burning on the Washington side of the gorge near Lisle shows this fire is now 72% contained. After burning over 11,000 acres, crews say they've finally made some good progress and have actually sent some firefighters home. The crews who are staying behind will work on mopping up the fire.
Meanwhile, Portland General Electric unveiled a new tool to make it easier to spot and monitor wildfires as they happen. It's a whole network of wildfire detection cameras, and for the first time, it's completely accessible to the public. As you can see, the cameras are strategically placed throughout PGE's service area near power lines and forest and land. The system uses artificial intelligence to detect smoke, flag potential ignitions, and alert emergency responders, sometimes hours before a call comes in. It's a tool for homeowners, hikers, anyone who wants to keep an eye on landscape during fire season. You can access it from PGE's website. Your time now is 7:46. We are keeping an eye on the Hawaiian coast this morning. This shot courtesy of EarthCam. It's still dark out there. It's hard to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's only about 4:45 in the morning there. After yesterday's earthquake near Russia, people in Hawaii were told to evacuate and brace for the possibility of a severe tsunami impact. But early this morning, officials downgraded that warning to a tsunami advisory, so people there can go back to their homes.
Madison Wade with our sister station in Seattle is actually on vacation in Hawaii right now.
Yeah, she sent us this report about what conditions look like in Honolulu and what she saw overnight.
Hi everyone, Madison Wade here in Waikiki. We are still under this tsunami warning right now. Haven't seen anything too concerning at this hour in terms of any water coming up onto the walkway or the roads here. I am keeping a close watch on the waves right now. We're hearing and seeing a lot of waves, but again, nothing of too much of concern. What I did see earlier though that was interesting was everyone in this area in Waikiki were cheering and shouting and chanting at one point, which I believe was their response to not seeing any major waves around that 7:10 mark, which is when we were expecting to see the first waves hit. So I'll play that clip for you right now. Yeah, it was quite interesting to see people react that way, but also showed quite a sense of unity and community here, as a lot of people were just really uncertain and anxious watching this all unfold. People are starting to head inside and go to bed. A lot of people are still watching right now, but not seeing anything too concerning at this moment. Still being told from the hotel to stay in our rooms and stay up higher than the 4th floor. But again, no water, no waves coming in. I'll give you a closer look too at what the water looks like right now as well. So if anything changes, I'll be sure to let you know.
That was Madison Wade reporting for us. Now, due to the tsunami danger, Alaska Airlines paused Hawaiian air departures to the islands for several hours and diverted inbound flights to Hawaii as well. Now, thankfully, those flights are moving again this morning. We have learned that there is no major impacts over at PDX. You can kind of see a live look here right now. However, there were some cancellations and delays, so it could affect your travel plans if you were heading to the island. So definitely check the status of your flight before headed out the door to the airport. Hey, you can also text the word tsunami to the number on your screen, and we will send you a link to all the latest information on our website. That's tsunami to 503-226-5088.
It's a good reminder of how to spell tsunami there. People do forget the T.
I was caught on that this morning too. I got to spell this correctly. Yes.
We have all those watches, advisories, and warnings we've been talking about. Again, we're under an advisory on the Oregon and Washington coast right now.
And it's important to note, and I mentioned this about 10 minutes ago, we don't know if the worst is over. Maybe we're never going to see anything, but maybe we are going to get a rise in water. All we really know is nothing has happened yet, and this advisory's up until it's not. We don't know when it may be canceled. So we are in the tsunami advisory area of this graphic, right in the middle. Stay out of the oceans, off the beaches, no evacuations. And the worst case projection that came out overnight showed Seaside seeing an increase in water or wave heights up to but less than 2 feet, which the fact that it's low tide wouldn't really be bad. Now, the reality is, so far in our area, from Lincoln County northward up into Long Beach, any raise in water heights from this tsunami have been either 0 or a matter of inches. So far the news is good, the news is comforting. As you look at this, tsunami advisory, increased wave heights, nothing to less than 2 feet today, light northwest winds. Normal marine forecast waves today, or the chop of the water, is expected to be 2 to 3 feet, which is what the ocean buoys are currently showing. So right now everything is normal. There is an FYI though, that there's concern that if people were to go in the water, which you should stay away from the beaches and stay away from the water, dangerous ocean currents are something that can also be triggered by these tsunamis. That's one reason. Stay clear of the beaches, stay clear of the water until you see on your phones or your devices that the advisory is cleared. And we don't know when that's going to happen. So for now, just a day away from the beach, please. Rain showers in Madras, but so far no storms. This is an area expected to see thunderstorms blow up later this afternoon. Here's Futurecast at 6 o'clock this evening. Same thing we've been having, moving south to north. Hopefully we continue to see some good rain amounts, which would dilute any new fire starts, from lightning. Here's Futurecast at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, showing some showers up around Mount Jefferson, but really not much of anything in the valley. So it's a chance. Could there still be a spotty storm in the valley overnight tonight or tomorrow morning? Yes. Could there be some remnant kind of weakening rain showers at some point in some area between Salem, Portland, and Vancouver tomorrow? Yes. Could we absolutely just stay dry with everything on the other side of the Cascades? That could happen. And the modeling is kind of pointing toward that right now. There's a thunderstorm cluster tomorrow evening between Bend and Burns, again moving south to north. There's that Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera. Gray day at the coast to start, but we are expecting partly sunny skies this afternoon for you, 56 degrees. Sunny start inland, and we'll be that way throughout the day. Right now we're at 63. No current weather-related issues outside of the tsunami advisory, of course. 72 out in the Dalles and 69 in Pendleton. There is a heat advisory from White Salmon through the Dalles, out into Umatilla County, Pendleton, and up north into the Columbia Basin with temperatures near 100 degrees in some cases. This shows Hood River 93 and the Dalles 99. Hot, but not extreme heat today. West winds 5 to 15. Valley numbers, yesterday we made it to the low 90s. The valley was 90, 91, 92, generally speaking. PDX made it to 91. Salem 90 today. Portland might just get to 90, just get there. 80 tomorrow. We'll get a mix of cloudiness tomorrow, maybe some rain shower activity. Really comfortable stuff though starting tomorrow. Friday only 79, clouds of sun. Saturday sunshine, mostly 80, clouds increasing, but a nice 77 degree Sunday. And that is your update.
Thank you, Ron. Still to come on Sunrise, the Federal Reserve expected to make a decision on whether to lower interest rates. That story, plus some of your other consumer headlines when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Oregon is joining more than 20 other states in a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's efforts to defund Planned Parenthood clinics. This news comes after the president signed a spending bill into law that prohibits Medicaid payments at healthcare centers that provide abortions. A federal judge recently blocked the Trump administration from enforcing that measure, but Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield says he still plans to pursue a lawsuit. In a statement, Rayfield said, quote, Planned Parenthood is where thousands of Oregonians go for cancer screenings, contraception, and basic medical care. Pulling Medicaid funding does not make that need disappear. He says it simply makes it harder for people to stay healthy.
The Federal Reserve is expected to hold rates steady today. Despite objections from President Donald Trump, the president says the board should approve cuts or Fed Chair Jerome Powell should resign. Lower interest rates make it more affordable for Americans to borrow money, but economists say the move can cause inflation. Starbucks says it's abandoning mobile order and pickup only stores, saying that they don't have, quote, the right vibes. Locations don't have any seating and are just meant to get customers in and out quickly. Starbucks is currently working on a prototype coffee house that will have about 30 seats and a drive-through, so basically a basic Starbucks. All right, coming up at 8, KGW Sunrise continues live on KGW Plus with continuing coverage from the Oregon coast as all of the Pacific Northwest remains under a tsunami advisory.
This is a look at the coast here this morning. Again, the 8 o'clock hour of sunrise is coming up here. We have Thomas Schultz live for us at the coast. He was in Cannon Beach earlier. He's now in Seaside. We've also been taking live looks in Lincoln City. The good news this morning is that there has been nothing bad to report. Everything's been calm. Everything has been mild. But as Rod Hill says, we just don't know what to expect as we move forward under this tsunami advisory. We'll have more updates on that in the 8 o'clock hour of sunrise.
The